What prompted you to want to heal it naturally? Because most patients, right? Most patients, they get a diagnosis and the doctor says, this is the next step, right? Maybe it's surgery, maybe it's chemo, maybe it's radiation, right? And most people, most patients just say, okay, and they just do it. Like, what was different about you? Maybe something about, the way you grew up or experiences you've had in your life or just the way you think. What was different about you that made you start looking elsewhere?
Yeah, I think two things. The first was when I got the diagnosis on the phone, and I asked the doctor, I just had an aversion to medication, just naturally not wanting to take pharmaceutical things and be dependent on anything. So when he said, you have to take out thyroid, then you'll be on medication forever, I had a very visceral, like, I don't want that. That was number one. I was like, I don't want to be dependent upon medication for the rest of my life.
Were there people in your life that you had seen?
What was that?
Were there people in your life that you had seen?
Yeah, there were people, I had seen my grandmother be on these pharmaceuticals and not get well. It just seemed like like a trap, and I was like, it just doesn't feel right. So, and I asked him, well, what are the alternatives to that? And he said, there are none. And so that didn't there was like a gut instinct that said, that's not true. It was just like automatic. And I said, well, I immediately said, well, I want to look at other options. And he was like, well, you can do whatever you want. We can just schedule this in 3 months. You can come back then, try whatever you want, just come back in 3 months. So it was just a natural reaction that I didn't want to do that. And then I think in my church community, I'd heard about other people who'd said, they heal themselves naturally. And there's this woman, particularly who was like 70 years old, and said she had breast cancer 20 years ago. And here she is looking fantastic. So I'm like, if she can do it, I just heard other people, just in passing. And I was like, well, it can be done because I've heard about it. So that was why, for me, just the aversion to medication and just knowing that other people have done this before.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, why not subscribe? Here's a link to do that. And if you'd like to watch the full interview, you can find it at chrisbeatcancer.com. There's a link to it in the description right below this video.